This is the weekly celestial forecast for the week starting December 5th, 2022. So, to start off on Monday, December 5th, we have the moon in Taurus with Uranus and the North Node. And anytime you've got Uranus involved with any equation, that is always about expecting the unexpected. And to add to that, we've got the South Node in Scorpio, and we've got Saturn, the taskmaster, in Aquarius. So there is a T square with the nodes. So this is always, anytime, and especially we also have Saturn in Aquarius involved here with the depositor of Uranus. So anytime you have a T square, and especially regarding Uranus emphasized, it's always about, again, expect the unexpected. And because we are talking fixed signs, it is always about being stubborn, a little bit narrow minded, and wanting to get our way. So, whatever occurs today and where this particular T square is in your personal birth chart will be of utmost importance, and the houses that it is located. However, in general, it is going to be about unforeseen developments that occur. And with Uranus is very determined to not only get their way, but when we have this square off with Saturn in Aquarius and with the South Node in Scorpio, it's always about really trying to, how can I say, push our weight around. It is about our opinions. It is about our ideals here. We may feel as if we are threatened because others may disagree with us, or there's a conflict of interests and our ideals, principles, so on and so forth. Anything that Aquarius is representative of. And that can also mean, if you want to look at it more on a broad scale, Uranus is also connected with our Earth. So there could be some sudden earthquakes, natural, weather related, or Earth natural disasters, and so on. Also, Aquarius and Uranus is connected with technology. So there could be something connected with hacking, or something connected with technological snags, snafus, what have you. But Monday is the day for the unexpected. So to be prepared for sure. Now we do have Neptune very mildly conjoining Jupiter within 7 degrees. So that's very good for our sensitivities, our sense of feeling lucky, and that's rather a positive point here. But it makes a square off to Venus and Mercury. And of course, Venus is about our affections, Mercury's about our communication. So we will have to be very clear again here this week about our intentions, about our feelings of affection and emotion. There could be some mix ups regarding communication. And as with Neptune as part of this equation, too, it's all about confusing. Should I go right? Should I go left? Should I say this? Should I say that? And this week again, we must be very leery of accidents because we could become accident prone if we don't zip up our travel plans. There could be the unforeseen, and that will hold true for pretty much this week, and especially with Mars in Gemini involved here, and it is not with this additional mutable sign, T square, not a time to get involved with tit or tat or very petty disagreements and arguments because especially now that we don't have all the information that we need. We might be arguing just for the sake of arguing and not really basing what we say on more than feelings and just mere mere this sense of being right and wrong. So avoid conflict if you can. So let's look until Tuesday. Yes, we're going to fast forward Tuesday here, and the moon is now void in Taurus, not a good time to sign any paperworks. And yes, there's still a bit of a wide T square here within the mutable signs, even on Tuesday. So the theme is continuing. Uh, However, the unexpected connection is now broken because the moon has moved past the conjunction with Uranus and the north node. And keep in mind that the nodes are very sensitive points. So with Uranus on Monday touching those nodes and with Saturn very disciplined, cold, and serious, well, it's a good time just to be objective and try to apply sensitivity. And we're going back to Monday. And to some degree, although the moon is past Uranus and the nodes, that would also hold true for Tuesday. So let's move on again here a day. And now we're going into Wednesday. We have the moon in chatty Gemini with chatty and the aggressor, the planet of action, Mars in Gemini. North node is still with Uranus. Now, this is going to knock it up a notch. Why? Because now we've got this T square involving the Sun, Mars, and Neptune. Because the Sun is now at 15 degrees of Sagittarius, although Venus still squares off both Neptune and Jupiter. So also because of that square off with especially Jupiter here and Venus, we might, especially during this holiday season, overspend a bit. And with the unclear connection of Venus yet in Sagittarius and Neptune in Jupiter, without thinking about it, in a pinch, one day we may go to check the bank balance and find that a little bit more money was spent than we had intended. So, on especially on Wednesday, do look out for your spending habits. You don't want to overspend because in the future, for uh, buying hastily, you may repent in leisure, certainly. But we have now the moon applying a conjunction to Mars, and that moon will then fall into the T square. Well, a very wide T square with Neptune and Jupiter come Thursday. But with the moon there now on Wednesday, that's going to turn up the acrimonious atmosphere just a tad. Wednesday. Communication will be fast and furious, but when you've got Neptune here, the nebulous Neptune, the deceptive Neptune, with Venus, with love, Mars, and then the moon, we're going to start to feel on Wednesday the tension building again once more, but now we're going to feel like we're again restless. We want to talk, talk, talk. We want to get our feelings out there. And with Moon and Mars, we may react hastily because we are feeling so restless, so impatient. And what makes it not so good here is that Mars, the planet of action, is retrograde, and the moon is kind of stirring things up with that Mars action planet. We want to get it done yesterday. We want to say it now. We want results. Chat, 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 which is good. It really enlivens this communication atmosphere. And we may be very busy Wednesday, but yes, it may get a little bit too acrimonious, too stirred up to the point that this energy is so lively on Wednesday, it may create conflict. So, Wednesday, do be cautious of that because we're going to want to go, go, go. And Mars is retrograde, putting on the brakes. So let's look ahead to the following day, which now is Thursday, and that's the 8th. And the moon is still in Gemini for most of the day, making around noon a very wide conjunction with Mars. So there's still that connection with restlessness and this sense of tension in the air. But remember, Neptune and Jupiter are about our sensitivities. So the hint here, the key here is to apply compassion with all our communications. And now Mercury, the communicator, is at 2 degrees Capricorn, and later on in the month it will then eventually apply a conjunction with powerful Pluto. But that's for the next celestial forecast and so on. And Pluto is still rather productive, connecting in with both Jupiter and Neptune. So if we really kind of keep our nose to the grindstone with work, we could really kind of transform our work, job, career, our creativity, business, and so on, because the sextile between earth and water is indeed very productive here for a very high sense of principles, creativity, sensitivity, you name it. But yes, moon is still in Gemini, so be careful of the conflicts. And we're moving along to the next day as the start of the weekend. Let me move this correctly here. And that's going to be on Friday. And Friday is December 9th. Now the moon is very sensitive in the sign of its own of Cancer. So with the moon in Cancer here, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. The moon is opposing Mercury. So on one hand, it's good because the moon is in its own sign. We're very caring and very nurturing. We want to help out but with Mercury, a very serious-minded, business-minded, goal responsible minded Capricorn, we may be in a bit of a tug of war. On one hand, the opposition is all about helping each other, but on the other hand, with Mercury in Capricorn, it's about kind of doing what is right, being very dutiful, or saying what we think because it's the right thing, the best thing to do versus our emotions. So this can be a bit of a chilly aspect between the moon in Cancer, the nurturer, and Mercury, the communicator, in Sirius, Capricorn. So with the moon opposing Mercury, uh, it's great to really express our emotions, but it's frustrating because we may not feel heard because Capricorn is all about doing the right thing, what Capricorn believes is the best for all. And the moon is about, oh, well, I want to express my sensitivity here. So it's about finding the balance between our sensitivities and being dutiful. Uh, Venus is at the 29th critical degree of Sagittarius now, making an exact square off to Jupiter, kind of emphasizing that theme come Friday about not overspending. And with Venus in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is all about being outspoken, feeling a sense of liberation and humor. So, although humor will be great here with this Sagittarius emphasis, of course, keep in mind we have the sun still in Sagittarius, and especially if we jump back a day, 2 days, even though there's going to be that sense of conflict in the air, it's also going to be good for levity and good for humor. But kind of here too on Friday, the beginning of the weekend with Jupiter, we got to kind of watch our humor. You know, you don't want to be jovial or joking at somebody else's expense, even if, especially with Sagittarius, you have good intentions. You might find yourself being so outspoken and wanting to be rather frank and open and very straightforward with people and honest, only to find that your efforts are kind of mixed up and really, because of this unclear connection with Jupiter Neptune, are kind of misinterpreted, and that could bring upon misunderstandings. We have now Mars squaring the sun, and sun is all about our confidence, our self-esteem, feeling good. And Sagittarius here, even with Venus late as Sagittarius, is all about feeling positive, a little bit devil may care. Things are going to get better. And Mercury's kind of putting the brakes on our communications here too, while Sagittarius is really wanting to just go ahead and carry forth plans we have, feeling good, feeling positive with zest. And now, of course, Venus, although it is still in Sagittarius squaring off Jupiter here, and to some degree Neptune, is now becoming a little more serious because it's making a rather wide out of sign conjunction with Mercury. Generally, that's considered within 3 degrees of the following sign, but 4 and 29, it's going to have a kind of a serious tone about it, Venus. So although we're feeling rather good or feeling positive, we are also starting to feel a little bit pessimistic, kind of like Mercury. It's about our affections, and it's about a little bit of some chilliness in the air. You know, on one hand, we want to be outgoing and honest and mind expansion, and we want to be really giving and cheerful, full of humor, but at the same time, with Venus late in Sagittarius, it's about, well, we got to stick to work. We got to just stick to what is right as far as relationships. And this can be very good with Venus in Capricorn, but it really does put a damper on our affections. So we are going to be kind of at cross purposes at the start of the week and Friday. And with the moon in Cancer, well, it is in its own. So nonetheless, even with the square offs, with maybe within a wide square off with Venus and with Mercury, the best thing is still to apply sensitivity in all affairs. Now, uh, also, it's good for creativity because the moon's going to apply a sextile to Uranus. So that's going to kind of calm the atmosphere down a little bit. So let's go forward another day, and that is on Saturday. Now, the moon is further on in Cancer, and now we're still feeling like we are wanting to be sensitive to others' needs. We want to nurture and so on. And now the moon is applying a beautiful trine to Neptune. It's all about our sensitivity, but not being overly sensitive, as in with these T squares here, especially now a T square with the Sun, retrograde Mars, and Neptune. So that sensitive, touchy, peevish atmosphere remains there yet on Saturday, and as aforementioned, for pretty much the tenor of this week. But with the moon in trine with Neptune, at least if we do get rather crazy with conflict, the moon kind of brings us down to earth with that trine with Neptune, and applying a trine with Jupiter on Sunday. It kind of helps as a healing balm, so to speak, to really kind of give us a consciousness. Like if we get too carried away with our heated discussions this week because of that mutable square off, the moon in Cancer's sensitivity with the trines with Neptune and Jupiter are kind of giving us the upper hand to doing what's right with our feelings, our emotions, our sensitivities, without getting lost in the drama of the mutable T square. And this is a positive. It's all about feeling on Saturday. And let's go ahead till the last day of the week, and that is Sunday, December the 11th. And the moon is void in the early afternoon hours of Sunday. So as always with these voided moons, it's not a good time to sign online, but especially on Sunday, early Sunday, we've got Pluto, the power planet, now squaring off the moon. So our sensitivities are somewhat there now with Jupiter trining the moon, so we're feeling kind of lucky again, kind of feeling exuberant and really expressive as far as our sensitivities. But with Pluto, it's always issues with those that are authorities somehow. And that could be literally authorities, government, and so on, or it can be those who we feel like we have to answer to that are authorities, whether it's professional, business, work, or someone that we are dealing with in authority on Sunday. So Sunday is not the time to get into sensitive tit for tat disagreements once more. But the moon, yes, is going to be Later on Sunday, it will then go into the sign of Leo. And that is going to be good because Leo is very expressive and very warm hearted and also extremely creative. But then the start of Monday, which is for next celestial forecast, the moon will be in Leo, squaring off Uranus and the North Node, and then later Tuesday with Saturn. But again, that's for next week's outlook. So the key here is Sunday to finish up the week, to be productive. Don't get into any misunderstandings, power plays, and the like, and we should do okay. Yes, we've got the moon in Leo later on Sunday, so it's a good time if you want to take time to express your creativity and get creative projects going. So until the next celestial forecast, many, many blessings.